Dad, who is that person? Upon my check, Dad wrapped his arm around Tracy's shoulder and said happily, "This person is Dad's new wife, which means your new mom, Lisa. Nice to meet you." So that was his intention. I only have one mom. I won't accept such a person. Then it means you'll be leaving, Lisa. Dad continued with a smirk. Live with your new mom. If you don't like it, leave. All right. My straightforward response surprised both Dad and Tracy. They probably never expected such a reply. Then I'll get ready to leave. You two can do as you please. I told them this, then went back to my room to pack. Thank you for everything. Oh, from now on, we are strangers. I won't know anything about what happens to you. A month later, Dad called desperately. Lisa, help me. I don't have a father, do I? My name is Lisa. A 15-year-old third-year middle school student. Born as the only daughter of my parents, I have always been cherished and loved. I thought there could be no child happier than me. However, it seems that was not the case. I came to understand this clearly when I was in the 6th grade of elementary school. You must be Lisa, right? One day in 6th grade, as I was leaving school, a flamboyant woman was waiting at the gate and called out to me. I couldn't respond immediately. There are 5 phrases which I learned from a teacher right after entering elementary school. Don't go, don't ride, shout, run away immediately, inform. These 5 phrases, which we were taught as the first thing to remember in protecting ourselves. I memorized it immediately after learning it. Oh, did I scare you? It's all right, I'm a friend of your dad, Lisa. The woman, with her flashy blonde hair styled in a bouffant, wearing large sunglasses and flamboyant clothes, said this with a grin. But by then, I already knew. Adults who say they are all right are often not all right. I've seen it in dramas where kidnappers say that to abduct children. I know it's you, Lisa. Because look. The woman rummaged through her flashy decorated bag and pulled out an equally flashy decorated smartphone. The nails holding the smartphone were so long and heavily decorated. I wondered how she managed to live with them. Look. She showed me the screen of her smartphone, which displayed a photo of me. It was a picture taken with my parents at a church during my first communion. It was the same photo used as the wallpaper on the kid's mobile phone I was using. How does this woman have it? Surprised, I became even more unable to respond. Wondering why I have this? It's not strange at all. Dad gave it to me. The woman laughed joyfully and put the smartphone back in her bag. So, my name is Tracy. Sorry, but could you tell Mom? Tell her to give me Dad quickly. After saying just that, the woman named Tracy quickly left. I was already in 6th grade and vaguely understood what she meant. However, I didn't know what to do in such a situation. I returned home in a daze and decided not to say anything upon seeing Mom's face welcoming me home. In truth, I couldn't say anything. From then on, I continued to live as usual on the surface. Because Dad was always the same dad. Kind and family-oriented. Handsome and tall, aspiring to be an actor. He was my proud dad. But there was a lump in my heart. Small, hard, cold, and heavy. No matter what I did, I was always conscious of that lump. Without saying anything, I graduated from elementary school and became a middle school student. Before I started my course, my parents, as if nothing had happened, attended the admission guidance as normal parents, and took a photo with me in front of the middle school's main gate. My parents in suits standing on either side of me. To anyone looking, we were nothing but a normal, happy family. But perhaps that wasn't the truth. Thank you. I was thinking about such things when Dad's voice brought me back to reality. After thanking the person who took our photo, he came back to show us the screen. I wondered if Dad would give this photo to that woman named Tracy, too. What's wrong? No, it's nothing. Perhaps because I looked odd looking at the photo, my mom asked me worriedly. I looked at my mom, then at my dad, thinking, I absolutely cannot let my mom know. Even if it's true that Dad has that kind of relationship with that woman named Tracy. It's fine as long as Mom doesn't know. I can't say anything for that reason. Pretend I didn't know, that it never happened. Besides, it might be a lie. That woman named Tracy might have just taken a liking to my cool dad on her own. And said those mean things just because of that. She might have just gotten that photo by chance and showed it to me as a prank or to harass me. I haven't dismissed that possibility. No, I actually hope that's the case. And so, keeping silent, time passed, and shortly after entering middle school, my mom got sick. The diagnosis was a serious illness. An illness that would end her life soon, it was said. That's a lie, right? Mom told me the truth herself. No, it's not a lie. Mom won't be able to stay with Lisa for much longer. Mom said this with a weak smile. That's why, Lisa, there's something I want to tell you.
Yeah.
What? After I'm gone, I think you'll have a hard time. To make sure Lisa can live on her own, I'll do everything possible. Mom clearly said, so you can live on your own. Meaning not with Dad, not just the two of us. Maybe Mom knows? I thought so, but somehow I couldn't ask. Mom also seemed to think I knew but deliberately didn't say it. That's how it felt. When that time comes, there might be things you hate. But I want you to believe that I did it for you.
Yeah.
I understand. I answered with just that. Thank you. Mom said this happily and hugged me tightly. After that, Mom didn't say anything more, and neither did I. We lived as if nothing had happened, just the three of us, like before. The only difference was that as time went by, Mom gradually got weaker. Going in and out of the hospital, and finally, she couldn't come back. That was it. When Mom got weaker, Dad was always by her side. When she was hospitalized, he would visit right after work. When he was at home, he would come back early to cook and take care of the house. Dad will take care of the house, so Lisa, please stay by Mom's side. To anyone looking, a perfect husband and father. But, in his words and expressions, I felt something artificial. I made soup, but how's the taste? Yes, it's very delicious. Dad is always a great cook. I can't beat Mom's cooking. Get well soon and cook us delicious meals again. Playing the roles of husband and wife as if it were scripted. I, too, was by their side, pretending to be the daughter, directing a fabricated smile at them. Why? I knew it was an act. Probably Mom knew too. As Dad continued the act, Mom and I went along with it. It felt like that. Just spending the last days left to Mom peacefully, as if nothing was wrong. That's all we were doing, just passing the time, playing family. About 2 years later, when I was in the 3rd year of middle school, Mom passed away. Losing a parent is incredibly sad and painful. Something only those who have experienced it can understand. At the wake and the funeral, Dad perfectly played the role of a husband who had lost his wife. He cried just like me, but those tears felt somehow empty. The attendees cried for the father and daughter left behind. But I just watched Dad's performance, amazed by how he was good at it. After the wake and the funeral, I was left alone. Those who attended told me to stay strong with Dad, but I had a promise with Mom. I have to strive on my own from now on. As expected, Dad hardly came home anymore. Lisa is big enough to be okay, on her own. Sorry, Dad is busy with work. Dad said that and left the house, leaving me to spend most of my time alone. I was prepared, but honestly, it was tough. I had thought that maybe, just maybe, after Mom was gone, he would think a little about his daughter. I really wanted someone to be there for me. But there's no use thinking that way. At 15, you're both an adult and a child. And so, getting used to the lonely days. The day after the month memorial service, an incident occurred. It was a Saturday. Since it was a school holiday, I was alone at home, but it started getting noisy outside. First, get rid of all the unnecessary stuff. After that, clean up before moving these items in. Dad was loudly directing a bunch of people. What's going on? What are you doing with Mom's stuff? To my surprise, the people who came into the house started to take out Mom's belongings. No. Don't take that away. I stood in the doorway, trying to stop the people who were trying to move the stuff. They were probably movers. They all looked troubled at me. The movers were just doing their job. I knew that, but who asked them to do this job? Dad. Why are you taking Mom's stuff away? Mom's not here anymore, right? So, no one will use those tools. That's why I'm having them taken away. I made myself spread-eagled again, preventing anything from being carried out from the entrance. No. What are you planning to do by taking them away? Things that can be sold will be sold, and things that can't will be disposed of. Dad said this as if he was somewhat enjoying the situation. Don't take them away. Those are Mom's bridal trousseau. My grandparents, my mom's parents, were wealthy. And the trousseau they prepared was quite valuable. What the movers are trying to take away now is that trousseau of my mom. The movers looked at each other, troubled by my words. This trousseau was made by my grandma when Mom was young, for her marriage. They're very important. Wow, that's some amazing stuff. Such a voice came from behind me as I was desperately appealing. Cool, then I'll use it. It was Tracy. Tracy pushed past me to enter the entrance and looked over my mom's trousseau. I don't know much about it, but is this what they call antique? I'll use it, so put it back. Hey, put it back. Despite my pleas, the movers did not stop, but when Tracy said so, Dad had my mom's belongings returned. Dad, who is that person? When I asked for confirmation, Dad put his arm around Tracy's shoulder and said happily, "This person is Dad's new wife, meaning your new mom, Lisa. Nice to meet you." So that was his intention. I only have one mom. I won't accept such a person. Then it means you'll be leaving, Lisa. Dad continued with a smirk. You are still a child. If you don't listen to Dad, you can't live on your own, can you? This is mine and Mom's house. Kick that woman out. So mean, telling me to leave. Tracy pretended to cry as if she was hurt. Apologize to Mom. Then, we can live here together. Don't let that woman into the house. I absolutely refuse to live together. Look at what she's saying. Hey, darling, what are we going to do? Tracy leaned on Dad, who looked pleased. Well, if you really hate it that much, Lisa has to leave. Dad. Dad said something unbelievable. Live with your new mom. If you hate it, leave. All right. My casual response made Dad and Tracy look surprised. They probably never expected such an answer. Then I'll get ready to leave. You two do as you please. After saying this to the stunned Dad and Tracy, I went back to my room to pack. Though I say pack, there wasn't much important left in this room. Most of my belongings had already been moved to a certain place beforehand. Dad never entered my room, so it seemed he had no idea. I quickly gathered my school supplies and daily necessities. Then thank you for everything. Oh, from now on, we are strangers. I won't know anything about what happens to you. Ignoring Dad and Tracy, I went outside the house. A taxi I had called arrived soon, so I got in and told the driver the destination.
Goodbye,
Dad. It turned out just like Mom said it would. In the back seat of the taxi, I murmured quietly. I arrived at a large house in the suburbs, my grandparents' house. Lisa, you did well. My grandparents welcomed me with tears. Finally feeling relieved, I clung to my grandma and cried. To think that it really came to this. We were completely deceived. All this time, playing the good husband, the good father. My grandparents said this with regret, but I was okay, because I already knew. Mom knew. That's why she did everything she could for me. Mom knew Dad had a mistress. Perhaps she even knew that Tracy had approached me. Mom never said a word about it to me. I wonder if she would have continued to play the role of a happily married couple with Dad on the surface if she hadn't gotten sick. But when she found out about her illness, Mom must have made her decision. Thinking about what would happen to me after she was gone. She said she would do everything she could. One of those things was household chores. I had been helping Mom from a young age. And we cooked together since I was in elementary school. I learned Mom's recipes and could make most of her dishes. For the last year before she passed away, Mom taught me as much as she could. So, even when Dad wasn't home and I was living alone, I didn't struggle with that aspect. I could do laundry and cleaning. After Mom passed away and Dad didn't return, I took care of myself in that house. It was all thanks to what Mom had taught me. Another thing Mom did. Its effects became apparent later. A month after I left the house I grew up in, Dad called incessantly. I knew he would, I thought, but I ignored it. It wouldn't be fun if it was over with just one call. I silenced my phone, left it in my room, went to school, and didn't touch it immediately upon returning. It wasn't until it was time to go to bed, after a bath, that I finally picked it up. When I checked the call log, there were as many as 300 missed calls. My phone was ringing in front of me. Although silenced, the screen lit up to alert me. Maybe it's about time. I silently answered the phone. Hello, Lisa? Why didn't you answer sooner? Do you have any idea how many times I've called? I was yelled at right away. How rude. I didn't respond. Hello, Lisa, right? Why aren't you responding? I remained silent. Lisa, it's Dad. You haven't forgotten my voice, have you? I wish I could forget, but unfortunately, I remember. Lisa, help me. I don't have a father, do I? After saying just that, Dad was silent for a moment before continuing. It's me, Dad. I'm really in trouble, can't you help? Lisa isn't the kind of daughter who would abandon her parents, right? His cajoling voice was nauseating. As I said earlier, I don't have a father. Lisa. You must have the wrong number, please check it. After hanging up, I turned off my phone. This way, I would never have to hear the voice of the man who used to be Dad again. I plan to cancel this phone soon. Perhaps because I stopped answering. The next day, Dad and Tracy showed up at my grandparents' house. Let me see Lisa. You must have influenced her. Send her back right now. That's right. A young and beautiful mom came to pick you up, so hurry back home. Lisa, I'll forgive you now. Give back that house. Then you can come back. Dad and Tracy were kicked out because they came to my grandparents' house since I own that house. Before she passed away, Mom transferred the ownership of various properties, including the house, to me. The house was a gift from my grandparents when my mom got married. Knowing about her illness, Mom acted quickly. She transferred the house ownership to me. Of course, she paid the inheritance tax properly. However, she didn't inform Dad. So, Dad must have thought he had rights over the house. believing mom's estate belonged to him, which is why he panicked. I asked a lawyer, who is my guardian, to send a notice of eviction to Dad. That's when he contacted me in a panic after learning the facts. The notice stated he had to vacate within a month, or I would sue. It was clearly written. At the same time, I had the lawyer write that all the furniture in the house belonged to me. And if anything was damaged, I would claim compensation. I had taken photos of all the household items before leaving. I remember the movers handling things quite roughly. Maybe Tracy also caused some damage. Such high-quality, one-of-a-kind furniture made by artisans would cost a lot to repair. Hopefully, there's no damage. About 10 days after my notice was delivered, I received a counter-notice from Dad. It contained a will from Mom, stating all her estate was to be left to Dad. It seemed to be something Mom wrote earlier. It demanded that according to the will, my grandparents should immediately transfer all of Mom's estate to Dad. It accused my grandparents of deceiving their precious granddaughter and destroying the father-daughter relationship, demanding my immediate return. In response, we also sent a notice. Unfortunately for him, that will is invalid because there is a newer will. Wills are prioritized by the date they were made. And the one Dad had was dated shortly after Mom was diagnosed. In contrast, another one was dated the day before she passed away. Mom had prepared a will in advance and filled in the date when the time came, handing it over to the lawyer. There could be no newer will than this. In Mom's trembling handwriting, I could feel her determination not to leave anything to Dad. Her will stated, all her estate was to be left to Lisa. Lisa would be adopted by her grandfather, ensuring Dad would not have custody. All procedures were entrusted to my lawyer, who is my guardian. Although most of Mom's estate was already in my name, she would express her intent not to leave even a penny to Dad. A few days after sending the second notice, a lawyer hired by Dad contacted us. Dad wanted to see me. Your father believes Lisa is under some misunderstanding. He doesn't understand why you suddenly left and this treatment. What happened? Dad had hidden Tracy's existence from the lawyer, claiming I silently left for my grandparents' house and became unreachable. He also claimed that they called the police when he visited my grandparents' house, and they wouldn't let him see me. He feared I might be held captive by them, worried sick about me. My daughter is still a minor, he appealed. He said he couldn't believe I would agree to be adopted by my grandpa without her biological father's consent. Perhaps my grandparents had deceived me, and I believed their lies, he insisted. She's my only precious daughter left by my wife. Please, I beg you, help me get my daughter back. The lawyer said it was hard to watch Dad speak tearfully about me. Your father said that you must be confused after losing your mother. He, too, lost the love of his life and couldn't be there for you. He thinks that might be why. It's been that way since Mom was alive, but why is he so theatrical? Maybe it's because he once aspired to be an actor. I remember something. On her deathbed, Mom asked Dad to take care of me, and he agreed, holding her hand. Even my grandparents, who were skeptical of Dad, were moved to tears by this scene, like something out of a drama. I watched coldly as Dad held Mom's hand. I felt no warmth of affection there. He continues to act until the end, doesn't he? I said this and then played a recording for the lawyer. It was from the day the movers came to the house and when they came to my grandparents' house. The recording revealed Dad's true nature. The lawyer's expression changed upon hearing it. Dad had been pretending to care about Mom and me all along. But after Mom passed away and when it came time to bring Tracy into the house, his true colors finally showed. I finally had the evidence in my hands. Well, this seems to be a different story. My apologies. The lawyer apologized politely and left. Later, he informed me that he had declined Dad's request and had billed him for breach of contract for lying about the circumstances. I suppose after this, no one will be willing to represent your father. Indeed. If he told the truth, no one would take his side. Why did Dad continue this act, and why did Mom accept it? There was a reason. Dad was Mom's first love. When she was a middle school student, the same age as I am now, she went to see a play and became a fan of Dad. At the time, Dad belonged to a small theater group and was aspiring to be an actor. Mom started supporting him, and they began dating. My grandparents were against the relationship because Dad was 8 years older and an unsuccessful actor. But shortly after Mom graduated from college and became pregnant with me, they reluctantly allowed the marriage under the condition that they take Mom's surname. Mom was the only daughter of a big company's president. Dad quit acting after getting married and joined a subsidiary of my grandpa's company. Since then, my grandpa had always been watching Dad. I never really trusted him. Yes, we always felt something was off about him. But seeing him at the hospital, I thought he truly loved Mom and Lisa. Dad may not have succeeded as an actor, but he was very good at deceiving us. I, too, would have continued to believe he was a wonderful dad if I hadn't met Tracy. He's really good at acting. But then, how did Mom realize? As I wondered, my grandma showed me a letter from Mom. It was a letter entrusted to the lawyer to be given to my grandparents after her death. Mom had grown suspicious of Dad after they got married. Despite previously adoring him, she started to feel his behavior was fake after she was conceived. Perhaps it was Mom's intuition. When she started investigating because of her suspicions, she discovered Dad had several women. He had many fans who supported him financially because of his good looks. Even so, Mom tried to believe that she was chosen among many. But she eventually learned what people around her were saying. I bagged the president's daughter. I'm going to be the president myself eventually. I don't love her, but she's wealthy, so I'll take care of her. Dad had always seen Mom as a cash cow, even when she was just a fan. She was shocked to discover this, but she hoped that once the baby was born, they could be happy as a family. After I was born, Dad became a perfect father on the surface. Everyone was deceived. But Mom continued to struggle with wanting to believe in him and not being able to. And she kept investigating him regularly. Then Tracy came into the picture. Tracy was a worker at a nightclub Dad frequented. She believed Dad was the heir to a large company and became his mistress, thinking she could replace Mom if Mom stepped aside. But in reality, Dad was just Mom's husband, not my grandpa's son. Tracy didn't know that and came to me with such intentions. Dad and Tracy gave up and left the house. Even if the affair came to light, Mom, who could have filed for divorce, was no longer there. They had nothing more to lose or pay. They seemed resigned to their fate. But I could sue them. I made sure they knew that. The day Tracy met me, a little girl, she had tried to pressure Mom into leaving by revealing her presence. An act that could be described as maliciously obstructing custody. Simply put, it's possible to claim damages against a mistress who tries to take a parent away from a small child. Tracy denied doing such a thing. But a detective I had hired happened to capture the incident on video. Tracy begged for forgiveness, asking me not to sue, but I was relentless. As a result of the lawsuit, Tracy's actions became widely known. And she could no longer work at the club where she had caused various problems. The club, a high-end establishment, values its reputation above all. And they couldn't afford to employ someone like Tracy. The club asked Tracy to resign. Tracy threatened to sue me for defamation, but I told her to go ahead. Being sued wouldn't bother me at all. In fact, it would probably be more troublesome for Tracy. In the end, she didn't sue and left the club. It's unlikely she'll be able to work in such high-end places anymore. My lawsuit is still ongoing. Even if I win the lawsuit, I won't get much money, but that's not the point. I will not let them escape. I intend to fight to the end. And then, Dad could no longer stay at his company. Originally, he got in through my grandpa's connections, and being the son-in-law, he was expected to eventually take over. So, no one could say anything against him no matter what he did. However, this incident, being kicked out of the house by his own daughter, and the revelation of his long-standing affair with Tracy, made everyone aware. It turns out he wasn't very competent at his job to begin with. Well, he could always put on a competent face. Acting was the only thing he was good at, making him seem like a sharp individual, but frankly, he was incompetent. Everyone came to realize this once again. Really, with all that acting talent and yet not making it as an actor. The entertainment industry must really not just be about talent. Maybe those who are called stars have something Dad lacked, an aura, perhaps. Anyway, with Dad's true nature exposed, all the pent-up grievances of those around him erupted. He became a pariah everywhere he went. Not just among his colleagues, but also among clients, who looked at him with disdain. Because he had a decent appearance. Even the female employees who were once favorable towards him now looked at him with contempt. He stayed at the company for a while, trying to make himself small. But eventually, the situation became too unbearable, and he quit. Now, he's supposedly living in a small apartment with Tracy. He's called a few times asking for help, but we are strangers now. And not just any strangers, but ones I detest. I have no obligation to help him. Oh, and as expected, Tracy did damage Mom's bridal trousseau. When I demanded compensation, they paid up. Probably thinking they couldn't afford another lawsuit. They might have used Dad's severance pay or savings. They might even be in debt. But that's none of my concern. I made it clear before, from now on, it's up to the two of you. I have officially become my grandpa's adopted child. Though it doesn't change my name or much else, just the legal relationship. From high school, I'll be studying abroad, preparing to take over my grandpa's legacy. Losing Mom was very sad and lonely. I still cry when I think of her. But I can't cry forever. Mom must have anticipated such a day would come, ensuring I wouldn't struggle with languages by making me learn several. She really raised me to survive on my own, no matter where I go. I feel this deeply. I'm just starting to walk towards a bright future for myself. To meet Mom's expectations, I want to absorb various things abroad. And I'll definitely meet someone who loves me sincerely. In this respect, Mom was a cautionary tale. Saying this, it felt as if the mom in the photo smiled a little sheepishly.